You are tuned to Grecian Echoes, the longest-running Greek-American radio broadcast program in the United States. It's Mondays with Meleti, with your host Meleti Pouliopoulos, and I'm so pleased to have a very special guest joining us this morning, Mr. Gregory Kontos. He holds degrees in history. He's currently a PhD candidate at the University of Athens. He has an expertise in the history of migration, nationalism, and religion. He is the founder of GreekAncestry.net, and that is a huge subject of all that he has accomplished so far, what he has done, and his team, and where they are going. He is a genealogist at heart, and we're so pleased to have him this morning on Grecian Echoes. Kalimera, Gregory.
Kalimera, Meleti.
How are you? Can you hear me okay? We hear you nice and clear.
I hear you nice clear too.
Oh, good. How is your day going so far?
It's been nice. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And you are calling all the way from Greece. Are you in Patra?
No, I'm in Athens now.
Okay, you live in Athens, and this is, but your GreekAncestry.net, it says it's based in Patra. Is that correct?
Right. So I go back and forth, Patra and Athens.
You do, and you spent some time here in the United States, I understand, a little bit of high school time, going
Right.
way back.
Yeah, second year of high school, I was in Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Yes. Oh, wow.
It
How
was nice
interesting.
and quiet there.
And you obviously you knew English when you came, and so it was pretty easy for you.
Well, I have to say that the first week was kind of hard. But then I got more familiar. I got used to the accents and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm better now.
It's hard for us when we're traveling. Sometimes we're talking to someone on the phone, or we're traveling around the country and different parts. There are the accents, as you say, the regionalisms and the accents, and they can really throw you. And it's
Right.
challenging, for those of us that travel to Greece. But tell us a little bit for our listeners. I know a lot of listeners are familiar with Greek Ancestry .net, but can you tell us a little bit about it and how it got started?
Right. So Greek Ancestry is a website where you can discover the history and genealogy of your Greek family, and we also provide research services and educational materials and programs. Now, I started working on the idea of Greek ancestry in October 2019, a little bit before COVID. And that time I was in The Hague, in the Netherlands, in my tiny student room, and I had lots of time to think about things. So the idea behind Greek ancestry was that we need a platform specifically about Greek genealogy. Out there, there are many international genealogy companies. However, none of them was, just about Greece. So the reason why I felt this was important was because if such a platform could be run by Greeks and could be about Greeks, it would reach a higher level of Greek historical, genealogical, and archival sensibility. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Um, in other words, I wanted a platform that would allow us to preserve historical and genealogical information, our heritage, without having to convince others about its value. And at the same time, such a platform allows us to develop tools and methodologies specially designed for Greek research, from the way Greek names should be transliterated into English to the unique types of records used in Greek research. Things that cannot be understood by someone not familiar with the Greek language, history, mentality, and the Greek archival availability.
So you yourself have started a number of digitization projects. You've led them and directed them with these objectives to allow people to go in who may not be Greek speaking, but maybe even go in with English terms and search databases. And it's really fascinating. But I was surprised when you said that Greek ancestry started just before the COVID pandemic. It seems like it's been around for much, much longer. What is that now? You were on television, I believe, or you were a researcher on the TV show, the public broadcasting show. Um, what is it? This is your roots. Tell
Right,
us.
the Finding Your Roots on PBS. Yes,
Yes, and that was way back in what, 2014?
20. Right, right. So I started when I was young. Uh, so before Greek ancestry, I was involved in genealogy. I was also like the I was in charge of the Greek projects of MyHeritage.com, an Israeli genealogy company. Um, so yeah, I started when I was 15. Um, we had this history teacher at middle school
Hmm.
in Greece, and one day he said, if you had ancestors who came to the States, who migrated to the States, you can look for them for their ship manifests online on the website of Ellis Island. So
Oh,
when I heard I freaked out and I started asking relatives, about information and if we had someone. Of course, we had many people who migrated there in the Chicago area, New York. Um, so I started, building the tree, collecting and recording stories. So this has started. It was
interesting. Interesting.
early on, yeah.
Yeah, but how would a TV program like Finding Your Roots on the PBS network, how would they find you? A young man of what you were saying, 15 years old, or no, a little older than?
In 2014, I was 18. I was third grade of high school.
How did they ever find you?
So that's thanks to Carol Kostakis Petranek.
Oh,
Carol is she's a Greek American. She was born in Brooklyn,
mhm.
and she's really involved in genealogy. She's my mentor. I met her back in 2011 or 12, I think. Um, so Carol had this vision before meeting me. She had this vision to make Greek records accessible for people interested in their roots, and she had been trying to connect with people and network. Um, so when the time came and Finding Your Roots expressed an interest in the in a Greek show,
Hmm.
um, Carol sent them to me.
Oh, how fascinating. Okay, so I didn't realize that you and Carol went that far back, and I have to thank her because she helped to connect us for this interview.
Right,
So she's
right.
been with you since the beginning, really.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
All
yeah.
right. All right, I want to come back to that one. But I guess on GreekAncestry.net, now there's also a Facebook group. There, all of these efforts are related, I think. The
Mhm.
Hellenic Genealogy Geek, did I get that
Right.
right? Okay, is that
Uh,
your baby and Carol's baby?
no, 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 no. But it's the baby of a friend of ours, Georgia Stryko Kuhlman, who
Uh-huh.
is in Chicago. So the Hellenic Genealogy Geek is a Facebook group and blog where people can connect and share information, ask questions, and also access a wealth of resources online.
Mm,
So the Hellenic Genealogy Geek, Georgia, and Greek Ancestry, me and Carol,
mm.
we all work closely together. And last year we organized the first International Greek Ancestry Conference, with a second conference coming up next week.
Mm. Oh, fantastic! Yeah, we want to. Well, since you mentioned it, let's tell people now. Is this a conference that you have to pay to pay to get in, or how do people attend the conference?
So it's a free virtual live conference streaming on YouTube on Greek Ancestry's YouTube channel. It's Saturday and Sunday, January 29th and 30th. The program is available online already on social media on Greek Ancestry. Um, and yeah, it's a very interesting event. We have been organizing it since the previous conference ended last January.
Hmm.
Um, we have many fascinating presentations and speakers. We have Nicholas Gage, the well-known author. We have historian Alexander Kitroeff. We have the Ευτυχία Project and Linda Carroll Trotter, other historians in Greece, abroad. We have a presentation by you and Nancy Agris Savage
Oh,
on the
yes.
Hellenic Chronicle digitization project. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so this is helping me as well as some of the background because I wasn't sure. I had been to the Hellenic Genealogy Geek website page and saw how wonderful that was that people were collaborating there. And I did go to your website, and we should let people know that GreekAncestry.net is the website. It's a beautiful website, and there's services there. There's information about the conference that Gregory just mentioned, and ways of accessing historical records. So let's step back, if we could, and talk about some of your projects to digitize records. Are those projects all based in Greece, or are they around the world?
hmm So let me tell you, when we started, when Greek Ancestry went live in January 2020, 2 years ago, it started with 200,000 records from Laconia, Messenia, Arcadia, and Chania in Crete.
Okay.
In these 2 years since then, the database hosts now about 800,000 records from all over the country, from the 1810s to the 1940s,
Hmm.
and is expected to host by the end of this year 2 million records.
Wow.
Yeah.
2 million
It,
records. So you're actually digitizing, or is the government
so
doing? How is this
there
happening?
are there are many types of projects and collaborations.
Hmm.
At the moment, we are working on a huge project with the National Archives of Greece, and the Greek Ancestry's indexing team is indexing 60,000 records per month at the moment.
Wow.
But I cannot tell you more about that collection until it is published in the summer.
Hmm.
The only thing I can say is that it's going to unlock new types of records and many new geographical areas. But let me tell you about digitization projects that are already released. In the summer of 2020, I visited the metropolis of Sparta. I have to say I am blessed to have built a very good relationship with the local bishop there, Bishop
Excellent.
Estafios.
Excellent.
So the bishop has opened the metropolis's archives to us. And in 2020, I digitized parish voter lists of Laconia from the 1910s to the 1930s. And so these are like lists of parishioners eligible to vote and elect a priest.
Mm.
What is interesting about them is they do not only include information about the voter, like his name, age, father's name, or status, like whether he is in Greece or has migrated, but the collection included even the votes, the ballots. So in some cases, you can find out what priest your ancestor voted for back in 1910.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How interesting. Interesting.
Uh,
Yeah.
another project, um, very different to this one, is the Business Directories Collection from 1901 to 1947.
Hmm.
What is interesting about this one is that it is a collection that was actually created by Greek ancestry. So we didn't walk into an archive and found the books. In this case, it was us who collected all business directory books, then digitized, indexed, and translated them. So it's a purely Greek ancestry collection.
Hmm.
It includes about 200,000 names and many beautiful old advertisements.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting.
Are these books from Greece or books from?
Yes,
Okay, excellent. I didn't know that.
yes.
I was going to ask you about just the general phone book. Is are those phone books digitized?
Not yet,
Hmm.
because in Greece, phone books became more popular in the 1940s, 50s, and after that. And immigrants had left Greece. Most immigrants had left Greece by 1920 already.
Hmm.
So we have prioritized collections that are of direct relevance to the research of Greeks in the diaspora.
Yes. And so you really do have a worldwide audience. I know we've been speaking or referencing the United States, but really there are Greeks in Australia, there are Greeks in Canada, there's Greeks in Africa. And
Yeah,
do you get those inquiries from other parts of the world?
yeah. The number one source is the United States, followed by Australia, then Canada, and then the rest of the world: South Africa, and Europe,
Hmm.
Germany, the UK, France.
Yes, very interesting. And when you were talking about digitizing old records, I'm assuming there must at some point there must be handwritten records that you're looking at. How does
Mhm.
that work? I mean, if you reach back into the 1800s, aren't those records handwritten?
Yep, they are handwritten. They are a nightmare to read,
No.
and in many cases, unfortunately, they're in a very bad condition.
Hmm.
The books.
Right.
And this is what makes it necessary to have them digitized and preserved as soon as possible. Um, Let me note that we are not only interested in records in Greece, but also in any type of Greek records around the world. So if we have people now listening in the States who have some Greek archive in mind, maybe their local church or something, they should reach out to us, and we would love to help them out for free to preserve these records and digitize them and make them available.
Yeah, that's excellent. I'm curious because I don't know if you knew here in the United States, they have stopped teaching handwriting in school. They're not they've stopped teaching cursive, which is script. So,
Mhm.
people when they go to school, they learn how to print, and in Greece, do you know if that's the case? I'm just this is a little off subject. It's sort of related, but it's very
Yeah.
difficult for people to read handwriting,
Mhm.
as opposed to something that's typed in Greek, say on a typewriter.
Right.
Do you know if they're still teaching that? Are they teaching handwriting in Greece?
So yeah, in Greece it has not changed. They still teach handwriting. The thing is, the the handwritten, like the cursive today
Mm.
in Greece, is not the same with the cursive back in the 1850s, for instance. So many letters were not different, but written differently. Also, there was a huge level of illiteracy. So you have many records which um, almost make no sense, but you have to understand what they wanted to say. There are many misspelled names,
Hmm.
places, information in general. So reading, so even if um, the Greek cursive is still being taught today, a modern Greek speaker has trouble reading those old records.
Oh, yes, I can imagine, you know. So, our guest this morning is Gregory Kontos. He is a genealogist and founder of GreekAncestry.net. And he and his team have digitized a number of records. There is an upcoming genealogy conference that is you can get to via YouTube. It'll be broadcast on YouTube. I think the search there would be Greek Ancestry
Correct.
to find it, right? You have a channel there. And also do visit the website greekancestry.net. And there's lots of information there. And it's so nice of you to be joining us all the way from Greece. Do you get a chance to come here to the States?
I was there right before the pandemic became a real thing. I was in New Orleans in
Oh,
February 2021, no, 2020.
yes.
I was there to give a presentation about the history of the first Greek Orthodox Church in the States, Holy Trinity of New Orleans,
Oh,
which was the topic of my master's thesis.
really? Was that recorded? Is that
It was not recorded.
Oh, okay. I'm curious
Sorry.
because, yeah, a friend of mine did some research years ago. He wrote a great article on that church and that history, and
Mhm.
really would love to connect you to. Anyway, yeah. So that's interesting. So you have been here to the States. Now, how are you funded? How to do all this wonderful work? Do you have all of a sudden an angel came to you and said, here is some money and go and do good things, or
No,
no?
no angle, no lottery. So
No?
those things, the way this works is the website started with a low budget. We focused more on indexing some records to get started. Um, Income comes from people who are interested in having us to search for their families,
Hmm.
uh, so a private research service, as well as from orders of records on the website. So on the website, when you search for a name or a place, you get a list of results. Some of the information provided is available for free so that you can, you know, navigate easily. You can locate specific records you're interested in, and then you have the option to order a record and receive the actual image, the record in both Greek and English,
Oh.
and a full source citation.
Oh, that's excellent. That's really wonderful. So, and the research that you do then, is it for records in Greece, or sometimes do you get, let's say, Greek people that want to know about their ancestors that moved to the United States?
Right. So mostly we have people whose family came to the states, and they are reaching out to us from the states or Canada or Australia. And this research journey always begins with U.S. sources
Hmm.
because in many cases the families today do not know the original form of their name, of their surname.
Right.
So, for instance, um, Papa can be anything. For instance, it can be Papatopoulos, can be Papa Georgiou, Papa Stefano, anything.
Yeah.
So we need these records to give us the original surnames. For instance, the ship manifest or naturalization papers.
Mm.
And then these records also tell us exactly which village the family came from. The
Interesting.
surname and the village
Hmm.
will then lead us, will help us start looking into Greek records, records in Greece.
Okay. Now, for the records in Greece that you've been able to access, beyond the voting records, let's say, or the town registration records, have you been able to get into other databases or other sources like the military records or the church records? Those are two very difficult areas for us here in the
Right.
United States.
So church records, yes. We started with the metropolis of Sparta, and now more metropolises are expressing an interest
Good.
in having their records preserved and digitized.
Hmm.
Military records are harder. The Greek army had its own history service. They have published some material, but not translated it. It's weird. In Greece, unfortunately, a systematic archival mentality is just now starting to grow and develop, and therefore, in many occasions, you feel some reluctance
Hmm.
when you reach out to people. They also genealogy is not very popular in Greece.
No.
Um, so if you tell someone, I'm a genealogist, they will look at you weirdly, and you know, so.
Yeah, I know. I can imagine.
However, we have some church records, we have the business directory records, we have mail registers,
Yes.
um, some records of captives from the Greek War of Independence, the Revolution of 1821.
Interesting.
There are records, more and more records becoming available.
And I know this is a little off subject, but maybe related, as the digitization of newspapers. For many,
Hmm.
many years, I've been going to the website for the National Library of Greece and
Hmm.
looking at they had processed microfilm, and so you could go and
Right.
look at new, but there was no search capabilities. You were literally just looking at digitized microfilm or
Hmm.
picture images. Is there anyone that's going back that you know of into these newspapers and saying, okay, now we have to use some sort of OCR character
Hmm.
scanning so we can make these searchable? Is anyone doing
Um,
any of that over there?
there are, so at the moment, I think that the National Library has just a few, maybe three or four newspapers partly indexed,
Oh.
but then the search engine is very basic. You cannot do any advanced searches,
Hmm.
and also you cannot search in English. It's just Greek.
Yeah.
Um, and the the media group, the Lambrakis media group,
Hmm.
um, they have the newspapers Tanea,
Hmm.
Tovima, and some other ones, older ones.
Hmm.
They have indexed their records as well. Uh, that collection is available under paid membership. So there is some interest. It is growing.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
I
Good.
hope more and more. So honestly, I think that it is private the private sector that needs to really jump in and make a difference because in order to fund this, like the state cannot fund it really.
Hmm.
Because to fund something, you also need some revenue.
Yes.
So.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you can here in the United States, there are commercial like newspapers.com and places like that will digitize for a fee, but then they're placed in a space that's inaccessible for the most part. You have to have the money. It's a pay to play kind
Right.
of thing, and gee, if we get ourselves out of that mindset and just and try to do more of what you're doing
Mhm.
you know, then we would be in a better space.
Yeah, this was exactly the reason why I did not want Greek Ancestry to be a membership-based website
Hmm.
because, you know, when you pay a membership, you also need uh, you want to know that more and more records will be coming in since your membership is, the payments are recurrent. So the way Greek ancestry is structured, it allows you to do research,
Hmm.
and then decide if you want to spend something extra just for a specific record,
Right.
a specific information, not just, I'll just buy a membership and I'll see what they have. You know what we have, and then you decide if you want it.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, that's a good approach, I think, is the concept of a non-profit organization a fairly new concept over in Greece? My sense is that it is. At
It
least
is.
it is, right? So nonprofits usually it's and with a lot of people here too, they just still don't get it. How where are you making all your money? Well, that's not what it's about. you know, it's definitely not the focus. So tell us now. You mentioned Carol, and you said the word mentor, and I want to ask because Carol is just wonderful. Um, is she? Do you have other mentors that helped you in this journey? Anyone that stands out? Anyone else that stands out that you'd like to mention?
So Carol is my number one. Then
Oh,
when I started, I also met some guys in Australia who came from the same area in Laconia where my family came from. So they were the first to actually push me into this and give me some opportunities. But then yeah, with Carol we're family, if I
oh,
may say, and we talk on a daily basis. Greek ancestry is open to advice and suggestions and everything, and Carol is the number one source of that advice and feedback. So we work very closely together. We co-organize many things, many initiatives. Um, yeah.
so
Then
yeah,
also Georgia, Striker Kilman of the Hellenic Genealogy Geek. We work very well together for the conference. Uh, it's what's the word? It's a cooperation between Greek Ancestry and the Hellenic Genealogy Geek, the conference.
right. But I mean, so you do have expenses, though. I mean, for your travel and for your Zoom membership, let's say,
Right.
you end up doing a lot out of your own pocket just for the good of
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
I just didn't know if there was and that's really beautiful to hear. But I didn't know if there was some sort of angel that came your way. Not yet, but
Not
maybe,
yet.
maybe this will
Well,
be the year. Yeah.
I have to say that Greek ancestry has been very successful, so I cannot complain. And what I really enjoy is that you see people really interested in their family history,
Hmm.
um, people who follow up on this. So they will not just stop where the records stop. Then they will turn to something new. They will try to recreate and reconstruct the history of the family. They will write books. They will then turn to the entire village.
Hmm.
So this is something that is evolving very nicely, and I hope that Greek ancestry does not just accumulate information for people to search, but also I hope that it gives something back to people, not just helping them with their family history, but also in preserving historical records, supporting and encouraging people to pursue this research. We have the last year after the conference, we started the Village History Projects initiative, where the idea is that we help people interested in the history and genealogy of their villages connect with each other, get ideas from each other, and every 3 months we actually make a donation to one of these projects to help them, boost their research. We buy them books, DNA kits, anything they need.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is
Yeah.
so great. So, you've done so many wonderful things. You're doing so many wonderful things. Where would you like to be in 3 years? What do you see
Oh,
for your personal growth? Because I know you're a PhD candidate, but
right.
also for all of this work that you're doing. And where would you like to see it all? What do you see in 3 years?
This is a tough question. I turned 26 last week.
Oh,
So
happy
long-term
birthday.
planning is not in my situation right now. But
Right.
I want to develop Greek ancestry as much as possible. I do love history and I believe in its value. So I will finish my PhD, and ideally, I would like to combine the two, genealogy and history, maybe a history of Greek genealogy. We'll see.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we look forward to following your progress. Our guest this morning is Gregory Kontos, genealogist and founder of GreekAncestry.net. And it's a wonderful website, wonderful service. And we did receive one question in advance that was posted in social media that from Poppy. Poppy, if you're listening, then I think you may have already received your answer. But for if you're looking for help in genealogy, there is a service that Gregory and Carol are providing through GreekAncestry.net, and you can contact them there. And that's if you need some research done, genealogy research. They provide that service, and you can contact them through the website, which
Hmm.
which is
Right.
which is wonderful. So now, once again, let's mention that there is a conference coming up, and there is a
Uh-huh.
conference schedule. Is the conference schedule been posted yet?
Yes.
It has.
Yes.
Okay. So if you go out to GreekAncestry.net, you'll be able to find a wonderful, conference coming up, a schedule. Also, I went out this morning and I saw Greg's Corner. This is really well. I love the fact that I could just hit print, and it printed up the latest bulletin that you have. Now, you do
Uh-huh.
ask people to register, and just so I want to say
Yeah.
again that
So
it's free, right, to register?
exactly. Yes.
Okay, that's excellent. Well, Gregory, I want to thank you for joining us and
Thank you.
speaking this morning. Any other final thoughts that you'd like to share with our audience?
Regarding the services, the research services, we offer free consultations. So no one needs to feel that they will reach out to like a obscure or anonymous company. No, we will talk. We will discuss about the history of your family, and then we will develop the best research plan. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on your show today, to thank you for being at the conference presenting
Thank you.
on January 30th, on Sunday. Yeah, ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ.
Misa Karistume, we are looking forward. We're honored to be asked to join and speak at the conference, both Nancy Agris Savage and myself. We're excited. I'm very excited that you took the time to join us this morning, Gregory. Very, very impressed with your work. I wish you all the best. And I should say Chronia Pola because we're still in this new year kind of a mode. And
Right.
really, best
Καλή χρονιά.
Kali Chronia. Thank you. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye from Athens.
Bye bye. Our guest this morning was Gregory Kontos, genealogist, an expert in Greek genealogy, very successful young man, and founder of GreekAncestry.net.